We are live. What's good, Josh and man? DL Saint. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. Saturday edition. Getting ready for the new year. Well, we're in a new year. We're in the new year. I'm just getting ready to getting back into the swing of things before my daughter gets back and all that good stuff. So remember, we're gonna be doing lives twice a week, Monday and Thursdays. So just pretend it's Monday or Thursday, right? And then Monday we kick it off. And in this episode here, this topic, I was hoping to talk about this um before the end of 2024. But things came up, things got a little hectic or whatever. So we're gonna talk about it now. We're gonna talk about it now. And it was actually Bandrell who brought it up the other day. He's like, hey man, when sometimes you do those little finance or economy or what's going on in the markets videos kind of stuff. He's like, man, I missed that. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me knock this out because I've been meaning to get to it. I've been meaning to do it. So here we are. So how bad is the debt crisis, guys? Really? Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. So guys, appreciate you rocking out with me up to this point. We're like 2.5, almost 3 years into this YouTube thing, bro. Thank y'all so much for being there, hanging out, rocking out, supporting. I really appreciate y'all. We can just keep going. Next week, I think Monday, we might talk about this on Monday a little bit of about how difficult really it is to be successful on YouTube. And by successful, I mean just getting monetized. Like just getting monetized. And most people think, well, I'm gonna get on YouTube, buy some equipment, or just get on YouTube and start talking. I'm gonna be making, tens of thousands of dollars. Nah, man, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. It takes time. You can get there. But I looked it up. There were some numbers out there. I want to say that 80% of the folks on YouTube never get monetized. So we're gonna talk about that next week. Just something to keep in mind. Um, but thank you guys. We got monetized right away. I think it took us like a year to get monetized. Got monetized right away. And my thing now is just trying to get the algorithm to like me. Like I look at stuff, it's like, man, I don't really get pushed. But I was thinking, like maybe I'm shadow banned. That could be a thing still. I still believe that. But my friends, my real people are like, nah, bro, you ain't important enough to get shadow banned or anything like that, bro. It's gonna take time for you to get your content out there. It's gonna take time for people to come over. You're gonna have to get consistent and a whole bunch of other stuff. So in 2025, that's what we're gonna work on. We're gonna work on, but we're still gonna do this the content that we like. We're still gonna do some good stuff, but we're just gonna work on it, man. Because I mean, this is kind of cool. It gives me something to do now. 2025, I'm gonna be busy. Got some really great opportunities that have come my way. I'm very grateful. I'm humbled by it, to be honest with you, and I look forward to getting in there, get my hands dirty. Like I already announced a couple days ago, I'm gonna be helping someone get create a podcast and get their brand going and create a community. I'm gonna be doing that. That's gonna take a lot of my time. Also, I'm looks like I'm gonna be working with a nonprofit organization it helps veterans. You guys know I'm a vet, former paratrooper. You can see behind me. I was in Desert Storm, so I'm a veteran of a foreign war. I could join the VFW if I want. So the opportunity to sit back and actually help veterans and this organization, unlike others, are like we're going after like real vets. I know people hate it when you use that term, but most organizations consider a person a veteran if they spend 24 hours on active duty. Just 24 hours like you go to basic training for a day or whatever, and some of these organizations will consider you a veteran and they'll help you out and do all this kind of stuff. If you've only spent a day in the military, you're not a vet in my book. I'm sorry, you're not a vet. Now, if you spent one day in the military and you was like one of those unlucky soldiers or sailors or airmen, or one of those soldiers, sailors, airmen, or Marines that got run over by a vehicle or something happened to you on the first day, you fell victim to some crazy accident and survived, okay, yeah, you would have continued on, you would have been a real vet. I'm cool with that. But for those people, failure to adapt, or you had attitude problem, or you did something stupid, like you touched somebody you weren't supposed to touch, or whatever, you broke some law and they processed you out. In my book, excuse me, that doesn't make you a vet. So anyway, the organization I'm going to be working with are going to be out there helping real vets, people who are out there who actually served, had their boots on the ground, toed the line, did their thing, got out, and either had a hard time transitioning or hit, financial problems or whatever. We're going to be going after and helping those vets. So I'm real excited about that. So and shout out to my people. I have more information as it becomes available, but I can only say so much. I'm not going to be dropping names and all that kind of stuff yet. But Don DeMarco for helping vets.
It'll be like this.
Uh-oh. See, this is why I do this, so I can get back to my buttons.
Don DeMarco.
This is why I do this, guys. I have to brush off all of the rust and stuff because I haven't been doing this thing. So, but yeah, got some really good things going so far. 2025. We're only 4 days in, but I really like how it's shaping up so far. So, what we're going to talk about today, man? We're going to talk about the debt crisis, guys. The debt crisis. This it's crazy out here. And people aren't really thinking about it. Why? Because folks are out there dealing with this, man. They're out here working their main 2 jobs, and they're working their side hustles, and they're, trying to put food on the table, and they're trying to be good parents to their kids and make it to the, parent teacher meetings and stuff like that, and being supportive for their kids in sports and other activities. They don't have time really to do the research, to read the articles, to watch the news clips or whatever. All they know is they're trying to make it. And people today, in today's economy, how are people getting by? It was on credit card debt right now is insane. You guys are about to see it. We're going to watch a video from ITM Trading. I like this channel. You guys should definitely check this channel out. Both of these videos will be linked in the description below, so you guys can check this out later. Please go over there, support them, subscribe. They break down some really good stuff and just giving you raw data. So you do with it what you want. We're also going to watch a video from Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David. Shout out to them. I rock with PBD. I met him. He's a cool guy. There's a lot of people out there who say what they want about Patrick Bet-David and how he, got his fortune or whatever. I met the guy. I got to sit down and talk to the dude for a little bit, multiple times. I don't have a problem with him. I know his people on his team. I know how hard they work down there. I ain't got a problem with PBD. So we're going to watch a couple videos, and it's just going to show us some numbers and what's going on out here, man. These numbers are scary, guys. Like it'll open your eyes wide open, and it really shows you, I think, the soft underbelly of the American economy and how fragile and how bad it is right now, and what really drives it, and where we might be headed down the road. I think, the next 4 years, 2025, we got a new incoming administration. I don't know how they're going to be able to fix this thing, be honest with you. But let's get into this video, man. Let's check this out. This is ITM Trading. Again, check these people out. Go watch them on YouTube and check out their information. Check out their videos, man. They put out some good information. Let's get into it.
Breaking news, U.S. credit card defaults soar to the highest. Breaking news, U.S. credit card defaults soar to the highest level since the wake of the 2008 Great Financial Crisis. But this is not just about missed payments. No, this represents something far more serious and far worse. But what exactly is that, and how does it impact you? Well, let's get into it. Today, credit card lenders wrote off $46 billion in seriously delinquent loan balances for the first 9 months of 2024, up 50% since that same time period last year, and the highest level in 14 years since 2010. But
$46 billion in seriously delinquent credit card debt. Man, look at this number, yo. Like, look at that, man. Look at that number. Like, you look back in 2010 and you see that spike. You look at 2024 and you see how it's going. Like, you look at 2020, kind of went down a little bit and then it shot up. So, like, you look at 22 or 21 ish, 22 probably. Then it shot up 23. And then you look at 24, it's still on the rise. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. $50 billion in seriously default and like delinquent loans. And we're just talking about credit card debt here, guys. We're not talking about autos. We're not talking about, homes, like mortgages and stuff like this. We're just talking about credit card debt.
Since 2010. But before you jump to any conclusions, we are not looking at a repeat of 2008. No, we are looking into the future, and it is grave. But let me explain what I mean. In 2008, the majority of our country was hurt. It didn't matter whether you were low or middle or upper class. Everyone was impacted by Wall Street's greed, except, of course, a small handful of wealthy elites or those who had the foresight to protect their wealth outside of the system. But today is very different. This article goes on to say high-income households are fine, but the bottom third of U.S. consumers are tapped out, said.
Like, you see that? Like, so what she was saying, like with the housing crisis, 2008, Wall Street got extremely greedy, right? The ninja loans and, the everyone was just in on it. Credit default swaps and all this, right? Like Wall Street they really got caught, not just with their hand in the cookie jar, their entire body was in the cookie jar. And banks began to go under, like huge financial institutions. We know the story there. But that was greed. It's always greed, right? So the entire country was affected, like she was saying. It wasn't just like one segment or what. It was everybody was affected. There was pressure on politicians to do something, and we got TARP, right? So what happened? Our politicians, the people that we vote and put in office, decided to take money from the average Joe and Jane. They took money from Main Street to bail out Wall Street instead of just letting Wall Street fall away and crumble, because that's how capitalism works. If you make a bad bet, you have to pay for it. Instead of just letting these banks crumble, like, no, these banks are too big to fail. We have to protect them. Man, I never agreed with TARP. I think it was a horrible idea. And now people are looking back on that like, yeah, we should have let those banks fail. You have to let people face the consequences for their bad actions, for their bad decisions. When you don't, you just encourage that bad behavior. And what's happened since, banks are they do what they want to do. They risk what they want to risk. And they know if it gets bad enough, we'll just go to the government and the government would take the money or print the money and give them what they need to keep going. So that was back then in 08. It wasn't just this group or that group. It was everybody was affected in America. The whole world was affected. But this time around, it's only a certain segment of the population here in America that's affected. Right? The people who are dealing with this crushing debt are not the folks at the higher end of the financial scales, not the 1%ers. It's not the ones who are close to being 1%ers. It's the people on the good side, right? The other side of the wealth gap. This crisis is affecting all of the bottom 99. This crisis is affecting the people at the lower end of the financial spectrum, which always happens. These are the people who really don't have it. And when you couple that with layoffs, you couple that with these corporations tightening their belt, you couple that with the decrease in purchasing power of the dollar, when you couple that with, gig working and no benefits, this becomes a problem. Like how are Americans getting from paycheck to paycheck? They're bridging the gap with credit. Thing is, what credit is, there's a limit. And now, Americans have reached that limit. They've been stuck at that limit and they can't do anything about it because they can't pay the money back now. So this is a problem.
Mark Zandi, head of Moody's Analytics. Their savings rate right now is 0. What we are witnessing today are the results of a papered over system. Now go with me on this because no one ever wants to talk about it. But what happened in 2008? The government spent a bunch of cash supposedly to keep the system afloat, right? But Did the everyday American really benefit from that? I mean, outside of the system not crashing, they just plodded along while the haves, they were the ones that really benefited. Cut to 2020, last 5 years, we've spent what? $13 trillion? Was that real growth in our economy, sustainable growth? Or has it just created an even bigger divide between the haves and the have-nots? Those who are already in a position to profit and benefit, and those who are not.
You see, I'm with her 100% on this. Sis right here, she's talking the truth. The people at the top, man, they getting money hand over fist. They can't spend it. They can't spend it fast enough. They got tons of it. They're good. Their investments are going well. They're good. Right? A lot of these people had extra cash. What they put that cash in? Some put it into real estate. Some put it into crypto. They put it into everything. Could you imagine that you're talking about people who just look at Bitcoin alone? Right? How many people in that upper echelon was just dumping money into Bitcoin? Like, all right, I'll buy like 5 Bitcoin at $8,000, $12,000, $16,000. What's okay? I'll buy like 5, maybe 10 Bitcoin. What's that? That's nothing. And now Bitcoin is what? Last time I checked, 95,000 a coin. Could you imagine if you got in at 10? You got in at 10,000 a coin. Now it's 95,000. It had hit 100. It was a little bit over 100 not that long ago. So they're okay. They got money. They know what to do. Is money coming at them from every which way. But the people in the bottom 99, that's not the same for them. It's just not the same. They're in trouble. America is in trouble. And like she's about to say, it's not as if the cost of living has gone down in America. It's not as if we got inflation under control here in America. It's not as if people are making more money. Employers aren't paying more. When you think about it, when you adjust for inflation, people are making pretty much the same amount of money today that people were making back in the 1970s. The only difference is, back in the 1970s, stuff didn't cost as much. Right? So the average household in America is still making under $100,000, somewhere, depending on what numbers you use, somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000. That's household. That's more than 2 earners, generally speaking. So that's crazy. So again, it's papered over. What she mean by that? It's papered over with debt. And Americans can't get that debt paid off. They have reached their limits. We got brother Lincoln Banks in the building. What's good, fam? What's good out there, man? Hey, y'all got a winter storm coming. It's 66 degrees down here in Tampa, bro. And this time of year is normally about 75, 80 degrees. It's 66 degrees down here. There's a nasty winter storm coming, guys. The vast majority, like the Midwest, especially the northern part of the southern states, and then of course all up in the Northeast and all that. Bro, get ready. And it's gonna hit y'all in Texas too, if I ain't mistaken, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you tuning in. So let's continue.
That's the 1/3 right here who are drowning and defaulting on their debt. Things are only getting worse for them. But anyone out there who's here above, who's feeling comfortable right now, because maybe you made some profit in the stock market, I urge you, do not take that comfort for granted and do not get too comfortable where you are, because the cracks in this system are widening, because all the government gave us was the illusion of growth, the illusion of growth. It's not real. It's not tangible. Let me ask you a question. What is our economy based on? What makes our economy grow? Consumer spending. Consumer spending that is propelled forward over the last couple of years by what? By debt.
Y'all hear what she just said? Sit down and think about it. What makes our economy grow in America? This blew my mind. When she said this, I froze. I stopped the recording and I backed it up and I had to listen to it a couple more times. Like, we're not making better widgets over here in America. We're not exporting any knowledge or, any kind of goods or services. No, or we consume. Our whole economy is based on people buying stuff. Right? And who's buying all the stuff? Is it the top 1% buying up all the stuff? No, they might go out and buy some big things, but they're putting their money into investments. They turn their money, they invest in assets. It's the bottom 99 who goes out here and blow their money on liabilities. So think about that, what she said. what drives our economy in this country is debt. And who is getting all this debt? Who's spending all the money? Who's consuming? The bottom 99.
Debt that is unsustainable. People cannot keep up with their debt obligations, meaning they cannot continue to spend, meaning our economy cannot continue to grow. And no, it's not just because people were irresponsible. I will say that a lot of Americans fell into a debt trap. Credit card companies, once again, were giving out cards to people who shouldn't have qualified. Reminds me of a housing situation we had. But then what happened? Well, the Fed cranked up interest rates. Now we had people who had more debt than they'd ever had before at rates that were significantly higher during a time when the basic cost of living had risen significantly and our purchasing power was down 25%. It's no wonder that people are in the hole they are in. And I know
She is speaking facts. There's people out there who it is a debt trap. You get caught up. Think about people who are out here working. You get a job, whatever corporation doing whatever. Who's getting consistent pay raises? Who's getting the amount of money they need to keep up with inflation? Who's making that kind of bread? No one really. How do we know this? Because in order to get more money, people are going out getting second jobs. They'll go out and find, so you got 2 full-time jobs basically. And then maybe you're doing DoorDash or Ubering or whatever, so you got to hustle. Why are we doing this? Because you can't make enough money with one gig. It used to be when I was a kid, back in the 70s when I was growing up, watching the grown-ups do their thing. You can go work at the factory, you go work at GM, you can go work for Procter & Gamble, you can go work for, some factory like United States US Playing Cards, right? I grew up in Cincinnati. These are businesses that were in Cincinnati. And you can make enough money full-time. You will get all sorts of benefits, paid time off. You had sick leave, you had medical, you had dental. You had money. They were just before 401k became a big thing. So you had like money for your pension. These jobs were unionized. You can go to work there and make enough money to live your life, to raise your family. And that's before you even got to overtime. You would consistently get pay raises every year. And of course you had your overtime, which was more than enough for you to go and get your house and have, your stay-at-home parent, in the house with the kids, have 2.5 kids, white picket fence, a car, all that stuff. And think about it. Today, right? Today, people are still making basically the same amount of money that those grown-ups that I'm talking about in the 70s were making then. Today, in today's world, with today's inflation, with when you adjust for inflation. Where'd all that money go? It went to the 1%. It went to the share, it went to the stockholders, man. It went to the board of directors. That's where the money went. It went to the top. It's going to the CEOs. CEOs were not making hundreds of millions of dollars a year back then. Hey, go and look at what these CEOs are making now. Go find a list of 5 major corporations that have gone under, over the past 15 years. And look how much money those CEOs made even in failure. Go look at those golden parachutes. That's where it went. Now, people have been forced to try to make it happen. You're not thinking about the consequences. You're like, well, my credit's decent. I'm making this much money a month. I can afford to get this credit card, and I'm going, I can use this credit card sparingly and whatever. And when most people carry balances, and then you're paying interest rates on that. But you're like, hey, my credit card, I'm in here at 5%. Okay, cool. I'm in here at 3.5%, 4%. Okay, great. Then you miss a payment. They might forgive you for that because you've been with them for so long, whatever credit card company you're with. Then you miss another one. You're late on another one. You miss another payment. That 5% rate gets jacked all the way up into the 20s. It's in the terms and services that you agreed to all this. Now your 5% rate just went up to, let's say, 19.5%. And you're still carrying that balance. Oh, and guess what? They cut back on your hours. You're not making as much money. Or your insurance went way up. You weren't anticipating your insurance going up by 95%, 105% in some cases. Or your association just sent you an assessment. You got to pay them $85,000. How are you going to pay all that? You go back to the credit.
Someone out there is going to say, well, no one should take on debt that they can't afford. I get that. But at the same time, the system we live in is broken. Who are we learning from? Our government, those in power? I mean, come on. So we have this situation now where people are defaulting, not just on their credit cards. Auto loans are up. People can't afford their mortgages. We have a record amount of household debt right now in America. So yes, it's no wonder that the machine has continued to spin and whirl, that the economy seems strong. But again, it's all an illusion, a carefully crafted illusion that cannot go on forever. So what happens? Let me ask you, what happens when the spending stops? Businesses are going to see less revenue, meaning that we're going to see more store closures, a trend that's already started. Aside from 2020, 2024 had the highest number of store closures, over 6,000 brick and mortar stores closed from big chains. And in 2025, it's already been announced that over 3,000 stores will be closing, with plenty more to come.
Listen, y'all know she's telling the truth here. Y'all know she's telling the truth. You can see this wherever you are in America. You can see this. Restaurants, chain restaurants are closing. These big department stores are closing. The big drug stores are closing. Think about this, guys. Wherever you are in America right now, how many CVS drugstores have you seen close in the past 12 months? How many Walgreens have you seen shut their doors in the past 12 months? Have you guys noticed that Boston Market is almost gone? What about Fuddruckers? Really major restaurant chains. Have y'all noticed this? If you go to the mall, I don't know who goes to the mall anymore. I rarely go. I take my daughter sometimes, or I walk around the malls down here in Central Florida, bro. They're virtually empty. Which malls are like bumping? Which malls are busy? The real high-end malls. The real high-end ones, where you can go buy you some Louboutins, where you can go buy you some Chanel, where you can go buy you, some Birkin or whatever. Those places are open, right? Those places are open. We can go buy Van Cleef, right? Those real high-end malls, they're open. You go there, man, it's bumping. There's people all over the place. Nice restaurants, everything's going on in there. But if you go to check the regular old, city center mall or whatever mall it's called, you go in there, like Sears is probably gone or about to leave. JCPenney's is probably gone or about to leave. Macy's is probably gone or about to leave. And every time you have one of these closures, that's people losing their jobs. That's people losing like their primary gig. The manager, I was managing at Macy's. I was head of this department over here at JCPenney's, bro, they're losing that money. And where are you going to go get work at? I'll just go over here and give me a job over here at Fuddruckers. They closed. Oh, I'm going to go over here to Boston Market. They closed. I'm going to go over here to McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's will hire you, but you ain't getting paid what you think you're going to get paid, because there's not a lot of places people can go to get work. But yeah, Macy's, Big Lots, and all those other places I mentioned, just pay attention to what's going on when you're driving around your city. Just look. Closed. Like, wow, what's going on here? Closed. Fridays closed a bunch of their stores. TGI Fridays closed a bunch of their stores. They're having all kind of trouble at the top end of that franchise. We are in, like I said, this is about to be tough, guys. This is about to get tough. 2025, 2026 is going to be hard.
Even businesses that do not close their doors, we could expect to see more layoffs. So what does this mean? Loss of jobs, layoffs? Well, suddenly we have unemployment rising. As unemployment rises, this debt problem we're seeing, this household debt problem, that's only going to get worse. Ultimately, people are going to have a loss of confidence in the economy, because the economy is going to slow down. You cannot have a 70% consumer spend driven economy with people not spending and not see a slowdown. When confidence crumbles from the illusion that we've built, when that is shattered, that is when we're going to see stock market volatility. Prices drop. And ultimately, what happens? You guessed it. The government will try and step in. They will try and continue to spend. meaning that inflation, which is still not under control, don't you love that term? Under control. Yeah, we're never getting back what we already lost. And it's not even slowing enough to what they want it to be, still well above 2%. But let's say the inflation jumps right back on up. The dollar is worth even less than it is today, meaning that not only are people struggling with losing their jobs, with defaulting on debt, with a slowing economy, but on top of that, there is an attack on the dollars in your actual wallet, your savings, your retirement. It means that a lot of people are going to lose a lot of their savings. So what happens now? Well, for those of you out there who are sitting there saying, something's not adding up, I know it doesn't make sense that the economy is continuing to grow the way that it has. Here's your answer. It's not real. It's not sustainable. It is not sustainable. It cannot go on forever. I know I've said that before, but it's the truth. And we have the facts right here, which means that time is ticking. Eventually, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's in a month, I don't know, things are going to turn and turn in a bad way. And all I ask for everyone out there watching is that you make sure you are not in the system, in this papered over system when things happen, because
And they really push precious metals on this channel, ITM. They push gold, silver, other precious metals. Yeah. And I mess around with that a little bit myself. I believe in having stuff that's tangible. But what she was saying, it's true. People are caught up in this system, man. Like, you lose your primary job. You were using credit cards a little bit to help you bridge the gap. Now you have to lean on them a little bit more until you find yourself another job. You do find yourself some more work, but you're not making as much as you were making before. Then you get to the point where you're maxed out on your credit, and now you can't even make the minimum payments because that interest rate went from, a low single digit to now it's, pretty high double digit. You don't know what else to do. And you talk about savings, most people don't have any savings. Like, that just gets thrown out the window. That's been gone. When you start hitting the rough times, it's been gone. You know how, and y'all know how it goes. When it rains, it pours. So the moment things start going bad, everything starts going bad. That's the trap. That's the trap. And like I say, they push up gold, precious metals over here. Like, it is what it is. We got Cody's King in the building. Yeah, bro. I hit up my people about that. I would say, hey, what's up with Rumble? And I asked for some information, basically. Like, hey, is this a good move? And they're looking at it now. The initial response, though, and I told them, like, nah, don't worry. They told me, like, don't do it. Like, when you need some more research, and they gave me some reasons as to why. So it depends on what your strategies are. For short term, you're absolutely right, Cody. 8 to 17, absolutely right. Money. Short term, you hit that lick and then you move over to someplace else. Long term, for someone like me, I'm retired or whatever, my moves are long term moves. Really, the moves I'm making are from our daughter. My guys are like, nah, don't play with that, because, and they gave me a whole list of reasons why. But for the short term, obviously, bro. Yeah, they did. But I mean, that's what they get paid for, bro. And it's at the end of the day, man, it's a gamble. It's just a gamble. Like, what do you want to do? My short-term stuff has changed. Like, when I was working, yeah, I was more aggressive and I did some stuff that, worked out pretty good. But now, I don't have those funds to risk. So when I brought it to them, they were like, nah, they waved me off on that one. Like, nah. But trust and believe, I'm gonna make them see that. I'm gonna clip this to send it to them. Like, bro, y'all cost me some bread. Cody out here making millions. Yeah, we could have been making millions. But they, you got to stick to your strategy. If your strategy is a long-term strategy like mine, you got to be way more conservative. When my strategy was short-term, yeah, bro, I was out there killing it. And the one thing that I kick myself in the butt over and over again is about Bitcoin. People told me about Bitcoin when it was pennies on the dollars, bro. It was pennies on the dollar. People were trying to explain to me how it worked and, what it was and how you mine it. It was so technical. I just didn't understand. And I talked about this before. I mean, if my homeboys had just said, hey, man, give me $1,000, I would have gave them $1,000. They could have invested it. Could you imagine $1,000 worth of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was like 50 cents on the dollar? Could you imagine? And there's some people out there who did that. They did that. We got Brother Mandrill in the building. What's good? My favorite snake eater. Yeah, so but hey Cody, when I get this information, I run it to my folks, man. And who knows? 2025 might really work out for me, and I might be able to take a chunk of funds of income and go back to that short-term strategy and have some fun. I might be able to go in there and look for some of those coins in the crypto world that are, where you can invest, a few $100, $300-$400, $1,000, and get a cool hit, and then pull out maybe 10x it real quick and then pull that out. I might be able to set it up if things go the way that I hope. And the potential is there. If things go the way that I hope, bro, yeah, I'll be on that short-term bandwagon with you, bro. And yeah, you're right about people are making a lot of money off of it. Again, my strategy is long-term with that. I'll get coins or maybe some bars, gold, silver, and I'll hold it. And I hold it physically. I don't use brokers. That's where people get themselves hurt. Even with crypto. Like, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars and you're going to hold my gold for me. So you think you're trading and getting this gold where you don't really have anything. Like they give you a piece of paper and say, yeah, this is your share. And then when you go in to actually get your gold, it's not there. They don't have it. Or, oh, we got caught up, or we just made a move and it's all tied up. Nah, you gotta be right. You gotta stay away from them people. When I talk about getting it, go out there and get your coins, go out there and get your bars, go out there and get it. You got to know who you're working with. I've been working with the same people for a very long time. You just hold on to it. No one really knows you have it. Right? So that's how I do it. That's how I do it. And, the powers that be, like the money folks, for whatever reason, they've been really working hard to suppress the value of gold, silver, platinum, like these precious metals for a reason. They have their interest in other things, but that's me, bro. That's me, bro. So that's ITM. Let's listen to the last little bit of this. I don't think they made a pitch for gold, but let's just listen to the last little bit of her clip here.
When it happens, it will be too late to protect yourself. The time to act is now. So if you're concerned about any of this, or you're not sure what to do, or you think you have an idea, but you want a second opinion, that is what we specialize in, making sure that people are protected outside of the system. So you can call us at the number below. You can click the Calendly link in the description. You can talk to someone from our team, one of our expert analysts who understand this better than anyone I know. I have learned.
Yeah, and that's the pitch. They definitely get into the to gold thing. They tell you that's pretty much what they're doing there. Peter Schiff is also another big guy. He's really big on gold. I listen to him, but I also listen to people like George Gammon. And George Gammon is like, hey man, just diversify yourself, man. Spread it out. Spread it all out, bro. And buy when it's cheap, sell when it's expensive. You cannot go wrong with the George Gammon philosophy on investing. Buy when it's cheap, sell when it's expensive. And I kind of watch those guys too. So, but yeah, man, Cody's right, man. There's opportunities out there, bro. You just got to pay attention to what's going on and be smart. And again, just know you're taking a chance. People are talking about Bitcoin now. Like, bro, there's no way I would invest in Bitcoin now at wherever it is right now, 90 something thousand a coin. There's no way I would do it right now with the economy being as volatile as it is right now and all that. No way. No way. If I had $20,000, like, hey, once you put this in Bitcoin, like, bro, you know what? I'm going to take this 20 grand and go to Vegas. At least I can get a free room. Like, at least my room going to be comped. They might comp me a couple meals. I might get to see a show because I'm probably going to lose this money. Somebody jumps in on Bitcoin now at 95, 96,000 and wake up in 2 weeks and Bitcoin's down to 60. They're going to be crying a river. But you're just taking a gamble. Now you might invest that 20,000 at 95,000 a coin, wake up 3 weeks later and Bitcoin could be 300,000. You just don't know. Even Cody's like, yeah, Bitcoin isn't to be trusted, but you can make some short-term licks on that. Yeah, DARPA and the CIA track and trace fully control. Oh, wow. So here's the thing with that too, man. It's technology, bro. As computers get smarter, as AI becomes more and more AI, getting closer and closer to that singularity, as that happens, this technology like blockchain can be cracked. So once that happens and the media announces like, oh yeah, Bitcoin has been cracked and da 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 da, that's it, man. It goes down, it zeroes out. It zeroes out. And then there'll be another new improved version. And then people will run over to that. So, but I'm with you on that though, Cody. You gotta be careful. So that was ITM trading, guys. Again, this will be linked. If you're watching this on Team Replay, these two videos will be linked in the description below. The next video I want us to check out, man, it's my people over there at Valuetainment. Shout out to PBD Valuetainment, my man Vinny O'Shaughnessy's over there, and all the guys, man. Shout out to them.
Dom DeMarco.
Shout out to Sister Nat over there, Natalia doing her thing. They got some really good people over at Valuetainment, and they work hard over there. I've been fortunate enough to kind of be able to peek in there and see what they're doing behind the scenes. They work hard over there, bro. This video, the economy's worst nightmare. They're talking about the credit card crisis exposed as Americans reach a 14-year debt high. This is like Tom and PBD mostly talking about this. I really enjoy listening to Tom over there when he talks about the economy. He's been talking about this for a couple years now, and a lot of what he has said has come to pass. It's really just common sense, guys. People look at me. I'm like, look, I'm not in that world. I'm not a Wall Street dude. I'm not a financial guy. I wasn't trained in that. I didn't work in that world. I'm an air traffic controller who's retired now, right? I'm a soldier. But when you look at stuff, it's like you can look at stuff and see like, man, that's not sustainable. If I sit here and told you I was going to eat 50 Big Macs a day, right, for every day for the next 5 years, I'm pretty sure people would tell me like, yo, Saint, that's not sustainable. Like, you're going to die, bro. Your body can't handle that. No, it's going to be great. No. I mean, maybe one Big Mac a week may not hurt you that much, but 50 Big Macs a day, that's not going to work out for you, player. And that's how I look at our economy. That's how I look at our spending. It's just not sustainable. I'm a military dude. $1 trillion a year on military spending is not sustainable. It's just not like, bro, we can chop that down a little bit for a couple of years. The rest of the world is not going to catch up with us, bro. We're so far ahead of the rest of the world. Like, we could take some of that money and fix some American issues, right? Just for 5 years or so. And then if we want to go back to spending $1 trillion plus a year on military, fine, we can go back to it. But let's get America together first, right? And that's coming from a military dude. We got this incoming administration is going to be talking about Doge and all that kind of stuff. Like, government efficiency. They're going to, in my opinion, I think they're going to just open up. Doge is going to become another government department. They say they're not going to do it, but I don't see how they can avoid it. But anyway, let's listen to $50,000 coffee cups. Yeah, I want to get my hands on one of them coffee cups, bro. You know what I mean? I've never been in the Pentagon. I'm pretty sure they won't let me in. He won't let me in. He going to take stuff. I sure am. I'm going to take one of these $50,000 cups. It's probably made out of plastic, made out of paper. Take one of these $100,000 pens. I'm out of here, right? Skillcraft, the money they spend on Skillcraft pens, United States military, bro. Anyway, let's listen to what PBD and Tom has to say about this issue, bro.
U.S. credit card defaults jumped to the highest level since. I'm going to the stories about U.S. credit card defaults jumped to the highest level since 2010. That's 14 years ago, folks. Credit cards. A lot of people are dealing with this right now, and it's a very challenging place to be. I remember when I was $49,000 in credit card debt, it feels like you're suffocating when you're in it. Credit card defaults in U.S., highest level since 2010, with $46 billion in seriously delinquent loan balance written off in the first 9 months of 2024, a 50% increase from the previous year, according to BankReg data. Mark Zandi of Moody's Analytics highlighted the financial strain on lower-income consumers, stating high-income households are fine, but the bottom third of U.S. consumers are tapped out. Their savings rate right now is zero. Rising credit card balances and interest costs have worsened financial stress, with Americans paying $170 billion in interest over the last 12 months. $170 billion just in interest last 12 months.
$170 billion in interest last month. Who got that money? The banks. The banks. Remember, we were having all this these crises with the banks, and the banks were going under, and they were underfinanced or whatever. They were messing up and needing bailouts and all this, needing to be bought out by bigger banks because they were all tied into real estate and commercial real estate, and the interest rates were down low and they had all this cheap money. Then interest rates shot up and all these banks got in trouble. So what happened? Well, credit card, right? The credit card rates came to rest, all these fees, right? All this money is going to the banks. That's what's keeping the banks afloat for now. For now. Because these people can't pay your fees if they ain't got no money. They losing their jobs and whatnot. They ain't got no money. So you get to write this stuff off, but I don't know how the write-offs work. I don't know how much of that they get to write off in real time, right? And here's another thing too. All this data, all this information that they're reading, right? This is trailing indicators, which means what's going on today, we won't have the data on it for a couple of months. Right? These are lagging indicators. So when the numbers come out, it's going to be like, oh my goodness. So this is just the beginning, guys. And this was, again, me and Mandrell was talking about this just the other day. And it's like, yeah, bro. He was like, man, we talked about this a couple years ago. Remember? I'm like, yep. He was like, yeah, man, we were kind of right. We were kind of right because we were thinking this was going to happen around quarter 3, quarter 4 of 2024. And then into 2025. And that's pretty much where it is. Like we are in 2025. And I think this is going to last for 18 months, maybe 24 months. So you're looking at the first 2 years of this next administration. They're going to have to deal with this. Americans are going to be suffering.
Credit card balances exceeding $1 trillion for the first time in mid-2023, fueled by post-pandemic spending and inflationary pressures. Consumer spending power has been diminished, says Odessa Pampidimitrou of Wallet Hub, as delinquency rates remain nearly a percentage point higher than pre-pandemic levels, pointing to more pain ahead. Credit card charge-offs and delinquencies at a 13-year high. Now the story right behind it. Tom, your thoughts on this year?
Well, we've been talking about this. Remember, a year ago, we said that the credit cards had gone way down with stimulus checks and a lack of spending because you couldn't go out outside. You weren't going outside. You weren't traveling. You weren't going to restaurants. So discretionary spending on those sorts of things, travel, amusement parks, movies, outdoor leisure, and going out to eat were off. So people weren't spending on that. And they got stimulus checks. Remember, the credit card balance went down to like 500 billion, I think it was. But then all of a sudden, it was time to go back out and play. And what did we do? We ran those credit cards up. And it was earlier this year that we covered on this podcast when the mainstream media wouldn't talk about it because they didn't want to say anything embarrassing to the Biden administration, where credit cards went to $1 trillion. And we called it. And we said, an election year, if this inflation doesn't get under control, if it doesn't get down to 2%, like Jerome Powell wants, by the way, 2% inflation is still inflation. It's not zero. It just means it gets back down to a more, a much lower rate per year. So what's been happening? People have been feeling kind of good. They've been going out. They've been doing things, but the cost of stuff is still up. And we're still seeing about restaurants closing. Why? And we're seeing about McDonald's struggling and did the
TGI Fridays.
TGI Fridays is closed. So guess what? TGI Fridays lives in the middle. Fast casual, they call it, like Applebee's, TGI Fridays, Chili's, things like that, where you go in and you sit down and bankrupt. So
he's right about that. We mentioned that already, bro. Like, I see it. I mean, you guys see it just driving around your city, your town. You see it. You absolutely see it. And Cody's right, man. The system is designed the system is designed to keep the boat afloat, not keep it, not to stop the water from coming in. Hey, they don't want the boat to go all the way under. They just want to keep it above water. But stuff like this happens and it gets bad. And with these tail indicators, man, you're right, man. The 1% don't want you to be able to pull your money out before they can pull theirs out. So that's how they pretty much, the true 1%, that's how they stay ahead of the game. They know what's coming. They see it. Their information, they get the information way faster than we do. Like I said, let's say it's a 3-month lag for everybody else. They're getting that information within 30, 45 days. So they see it. They see it. They know what time it is. They know when to, that Kenny Rogers song, know when to hold them, know when to walk away, know when to fold them, know when to run, right? They gambling, but they get to see everybody else's cards, right? It is what it is. And bro, America was lulled into that false insecurity. And like what Tom is saying, what the Valuetainment was saying is true. They were talking about this a long time ago, and they're like, the Biden administration didn't want people to know this. Fox Business was talking about this. CNBC was talking about this. The financial world they know about this. They were talking about this, but Wall Street was doing so good. They didn't care. They were making money. They were making too much money. They did not care, right? It is what it is. But the average everyday person was just like, I got money. We got cheap money. All these credit card offers, man. Let's get all these credit cards. We got all this credit. This is great. Let's go out, pop bottles. Let's go do whatever. And now things have changed. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And it's not just going to hurt the poor folks, not going to just hurt the people at the bottom of the spectrum. It is going to just devastate America. Because like Sis said on the ITM video, our economy is driven by people spending money, and they're spending money they don't have. Now it's time to pay the piper.
Got right now. However, the bank stocks seem to be okay. Really? Why would the bank stocks be okay? Do you know how much interest Americans paid over the last 12 months?
How much?
On credit cards. $170 billion in interest at an excess of 25%. That's the interest rate on credit cards they pay in the last 12 months, and it's going down, which means this is the opportunity for Trump. And one of the big areas you got to get the cost down for people is on energy. You bring cost of gas down, you can actually anti-inflate gasoline and energy and heating oil, and also those costs come out of getting all those goods shipped to your grocery store.
And this is where I don't really agree. When you bring in Trump, Valuetainment is really good, especially Tom. They're Trumpers. They're Republicans, but they're more to the point, they're Trumpers over there. They're really good at sliding into political stuff when they do the talks. I love the financial talks. I love it. They keep it hardcore. You see the numbers. You see it's right here. But then they want to get into, these politicians are bad, like Biden bad, but Trump's going to be able to fix this. And I paid close attention to the words that they use because Tom is a very wise dude. So is PBD. And Tom just said Trump has the opportunity to turn it around. The opportunity. Tom knows, like I know, that Trump really ain't going to be moving on this stuff, bro. Trump doesn't care. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean that he's anti-American or anything like that, talking about Donald Trump. Trump is just all about himself. What's in it for him to fix this financial crisis? What's in it for Donald Trump? And if the answer is nothing, then he ain't worried about it. That's how I think about this whole thing. So now it falls to his administration. Well, what kind of administration is he going to have? And what are their policies going to be? And who's leading the charge? Normally, that's the president. The president comes in, pulls in a bunch of people who are going to help him implement his plan. Or, that's how it works. This is the person I got in charge of finance. These are the guys I got in charge of defense. These are the guys I got that's going to handle domestic stuff. And you already know what they're going to do. They're all on board with your plan. Trump is just bringing in people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bringing in Elon Musk. Why? He gave me $250 million so I can win this election. Elon Musk kept me out of jail. That's my homeboy. Whatever he wants, he gets. That could be a thing. I don't know. Right? That could be a thing. So it's not like his administration is going to come in and these people are in lockstep and they're synced up and they know what they're going to do. Bro, we already see infighting. This is why I keep telling folks, I'm waiting till January 20th. I want to see them get in, get through all the process. It's going to take a little while, but once it gets all locked in, then we'll see what happens. But think about where it will be. This debt crisis will be an official crisis by the time Trump administration gets online, and it's going to be a problem. How are they going to fix this problem? I don't know.
Maybe we'll see a little bit of ebbing in price at the grocery store. But right now, the U.S. Consumer, the bottom third of the U.S. consumers are in a tougher place than they were at the beginning of COVID. They actually got savings relief during
So
COVID.
let me ask you this question, Tom. If you look at this chart, Rob, you had the other one as well, but let's stay on this one real quick. U.S. credit card write-offs jump. 2010.
Yep.
That's after 08, market crash, Obama, 2010.
Yep.
Spikes. 2024
Crash of
spikes.
08, people spent,
Right.
then they defaulted.
So what I'm trying to ask you is, if I look at this chart, is 2024 2010 or is 2025 going to be 2010?
I think
2024 is 2007, Pat. 2008. That's how we're just getting started. This is the beginning of the spike. This ain't the top of the spike. I get the question he's asking. It makes sense. It's like, nah, bro. This is 2024 is not 2010. 2024 is like 2006, 07, maybe 08, somewhere in there. It's maybe 2-3 years before the spike. Right? Y'all see what I'm saying right here, right? You see this spike, like you see these years, you got this right here, this year. I say 2024 is this one right here. Is this one, which is like, this is 04, 5, 6, 7. I think it's 2007. I think 2024 is like 2007, 2008. I think we're in here somewhere. You see this big jump? I think that's what we're about to see. I think it's going to go from this 2024 level. It's gonna spike even higher. That's what I think. But again, what do I know, bro? I'm just some old man sitting in his attic talking to a computer.
2024 is 2008, 9, and 2025 is going to be 2010 because
So let me get this straight. What you just said right there, Rob, go to the other one. It's very important
I think we're
what you just said. So if you go here, I'm asking you if 2024 is 2010, meaning
no.
are we at the peak, or is next year numbers on loan write-offs going to go skyrocketing even higher than 2024?
No, we're the year before 2010.
Okay, I got
Peak.
you.
I'm calling
got you.
peak
Yeah.
next year because remember,
I'm
Trump
kind of with you, because if you think about the timeline of COVID and what happened with Biden and the economy the last 48 months,
Yep. So, and by the way, let's look at the impact. The world is starving. I got to grow corn. How long does it take to grow corn? That's what you would look into,
That's
right?
right.
How long does it take to grow wheat so you can ship bulk? Well, guess what? Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th. Then they won't clear all those cabinet picks for another 4 or 5 weeks. Now the cabinet picks, especially Treasury and Commerce, are in place. Then they put their programs out. Congress has got to debate it. You're probably talking the middle of Q2, getting into May, June, before, you know what I mean, Pat? Before the corn grows, meaning all of the programs from the new cabinet can start having a dramatic impact on the U.S. worker. So what we're seeing here, this is a leading indicator of more pain to come on credit card delinquencies. And we're about to find out how much did they spend. If you hear that there's a lot of spending in Q4, then it's there. And by the way, guess what we've left out here? We were screaming about it and talking about it because it gets left out of the stats. What is it? 4 letters. Begins with a B. Remember?
Buy
If
now,
you're
pay later, Tom.
Bingo.
Yep.
BNPL is sitting below the water like a bigger iceberg, with consumers having a lot of BNPL on top of the credit card stuff. I think 25 is going to be our spike, but I think Trump's going to put a lot of things in place with his cabinet to get after it.
Do you ever
I think 26 might be a spike, guys. I really think it might. I think 26 might be the spike, because I think it's either gonna be 25 or 26, and it's gonna be a huge spike up there, guys. And like Cody said, now's the time, guys. Now's the time to get y'all money right. Now's the time to go out there, however you got to do it, get some extra cash, be ready. It's gonna be so many deals out here. These are the conditions when they say there's blood in the streets. That's when you make your money. This is what they're talking about. There's definitely blood in the streets right now. Right, there are going to be so many deals out there down here in Florida. Right, down here in Florida, the housing market is insane. The condo market, forget about it. It's being devastated right now. The condo market, we're going to talk about that next week. As we move on in a month, we're going to be talking about that. But you look at the housing market, like single family homes. Man, so many people are selling. Like the inventory in Florida has spiked. It's like insane right now. Like I said, we're going to be talking about probably Monday. We'll probably talk about it on Monday and continue to talk about it throughout the year. It's insane right now. People are selling their homes right now. There's homes on the market right now. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars under the retail value. Discounted $150,000, $200,000, and they can't sell it. They can't sell it. Right? A lot of it has to do with insurance. A lot of it has to do with interest rates being high. A lot of it has to do with people being maxed out. There are not a lot of people who qualify for these loans. Banks ain't messing with it. The banks don't know what it's going to cost to insure these homes in 4, 5, 10 years. They don't know. So they're staying away from, they are asking for more up front. And I'm just talking about Florida. There's definitely blood in the streets, guys. It's going to get ugly.
Read the book Tale of Two Cities.
It was the best of times.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of
It was a
times.
season of discontent.
That's what's going on in America today. So what's happening is, just as people are struggling, inflation, interest rates, we see what's going on in the economy. It's the economy, stupid. Credit card debt, delinquencies hit 13-year high. Juxtapose that with, Rob, what I sent you. If you're an investor, if you're playing the Wall Street game versus the Main Street game, the stock market is on pace to have the best 2-year run in the last 25 years. Rob, if you want to use the title of that article. Stocks on pace for the best 2 years. So if you're holding assets, if you own real estate, if you own stocks, your 401k, your index fund, your crypto account, your Bitcoin, you just hit 100,000. We know what's going on with that. So people are getting richer and the poor are getting poor. Pat, we learned a term during COVID called the K-shaped economy.
Mm-hmm.
You did a whole thing about money flows to where? The top. So people get richer during COVID because people got stimulus checks. What did they all do with their stimulus checks? Who quickly became the richest man in the world during COVID? Do you remember his name? It wasn't Elon Musk.
Renault.
It wasn't Jeff Bezos. Exactly. It was Bernard Arnault. Who's Bernard Arnault? He owns a company called LVMH. Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. Everyone got them stimmy checks and balled till they fall at the mall. And now, 2 years later, they're drowning in credit card debt. The average American, 2/3 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The average credit card debt is $7,000 per consumer. The average interest rate is 24%. People are struggling, but only half of the people are struggling. It's the haves versus the have-nots.
Mm.
Did you hear that? The average American is carrying 24% interest on that credit card debt, and they're looking at the average being $7,000. I wonder what the median is, but the average is pretty high, $7,000. You know, you move in certain circles, bro, and you see the way money flows. I know 1%ers. I know people who are close to the 1%. And for them to go out and have a good time and have a great meal or something like that, bro, a $8,000 to $12,000 dinner tab is pretty much the norm, especially if you're in the big cities. And it's a handful of you guys. It's like 5 or 6 of you. Now, because I'm lucky enough that I move in both circles. Right? I move in the 1% circles. I'm not a 1%er, but I move in them circles. I know folks. And I can afford a nice meal here and there, hanging out with these folks or whatever. And of course, I'm down here in the bottom 99 with folks. So I know folks who still, back in the hood. I know folks who are really middle class, which I believe there's no more middle class. Either you have it or you don't. But I know people at the top of the bottom 99, and I know people towards the bottom of the bottom 99. I can remember going out. It was a birthday dinner. I took a friend of mine. I'm gonna keep it one. It was a woman I was trying to smash. This was at the end of my hedonistic movement. This was me coming away from spending place and all that. It was at the end of that. But this is one of the last women I was like really trying to holler at. Beautiful woman. And it was my birthday, and I was like, you know what? My normal folks were gone. Everyone was out of the country or gone out of the city or whatever. So I'm like, hey, it was just my birthday. Won't you come with me? I was trying to parlay that into some birthday sex. Y'all know how it is, man.
Holla, 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 holla.
I was trying to make it happen. So we're having dinner. You guys know where I like to go. We're at Mr. Child's, right? I'm my favorite Mr. Child's. The original, not the original, but the original for me. My first Mr. Child's in LA, Beverly Hills. We're at Mr. Child's. We're chilling. We doing whatever. And she's like a regular woman doing good. She's working, she's doing all right, taking care of herself. The bill comes and she happens to take a glance at it. because I think I was at the rest. I was in the restroom, whatever. I came back, the bill was on the table. Because I asked them, "Hey, can you bring the bill? I'm use the restroom. Can you bring the bill?" They brought the bill, left it on the table. I came back, and she's just kind of sitting there. I'm like, "What's wrong?" She was like, I didn't mean to look. I'm sorry, but I looked at the bill." And I'm like, "Hey, you shouldn't be looking at the bill unless you plan to pay for it." She's like, I know. I was just so curious. It's a nice place." And she's like, that bill is so much. It's a lot of money. I'm like, "Well, it's an occasion. It's like, it's my birthday. I made it another year. I'm a splurge on myself just a little bit. Not a big deal." But she was saying, like, she was looking at a watch. I think it was a watch she said she wanted. It was something that she wanted. And she was looking at it and she's like, "I'm gonna have to save up to get it." And the bill for that dinner that night was twice the amount of that item, whatever it was that she wanted. And it just blew her mind. Like, someone's spending this kind of money on dinner. And it was just the two of us. I was like, yeah, if my crew was here, that bill would have been way more. But it just goes to show you that there are people that, they look at money differently. Like, we're moving different worlds. And again, the top of the spectrum, they ain't tripping. But everybody else, if you have a $7,000 credit card bill, to the people in the 1% are like $7,000, just pay it. Just pay it right now. To them, that's nothing. But to everyone else, like $7,000, with the amount of money I make, how long is it going to take me to get that? Right? I got to pay that money after taxes. Like, you look at how much you make, like, I'll make $65,000 a year. Not after taxes, you don't. Right? So it's like, and remember, this was in California. So you had to deal with Fed tax, California taxes, bro. Like, it was insane. So we are here. There's no more money to be had. People can't afford the debt that they've created, and they're losing jobs. And people who get to keep their jobs, they were getting probably pay cuts. Like, "Hey, we can't give you as many hours. We're gonna have to move you to hourly. We can't have you over here on salary because we can't afford to pay those benefits. So you can leave, or we're gonna keep the benefits and you just go hourly. And by the way, we can only get you 35 hours this week and no overtime." Like, it is hard out here. It's like everybody bought Louis Vuitton. They got red bottoms, bro. They got Chanel bags, man. Bro, it's like, it is what it is, man. Everybody was trying to get Hermes. Right? Got to get a Birkin or got to get a Kelly, right? Which they couldn't get, and they got mad. You know what I mean? So let's continue.
Half the people are getting richer and half the people are getting poor, and they just flip a coin depending on where you're at. So it's not easy out there.
This is the last chance here for the end of your sale with btmerch.com. If you haven't yet ordered, we have so many different things with
and shout out to Pat and his team. They do a good job selling their stuff. And that's something I've been watching Valuetainment. I'm like, look, as we build out this community, for the people that brought me on to consult for them, that's one of the things I'm definitely going to be pushing merchandise for their thing. I know a lot of people have been hitting me up like, "Yo, we ain't going to do merch on this platform." Here's the thing with merch. I can easily get t-shirts, cups. I can get hoodies. I can get hats. I can get all that stuff. The problem is getting it to you. So, like, the problem is how much you got to charge to ship it out. And, that's when you get like a $10 t-shirt. Now you got to charge $25 for that t-shirt, $30 for that t-shirt, because you got to roll in all the expense of shipping it out. And you got to have someone to the payment process, and you know what I mean? So that's the reason why, guys. It costs too much for me. I don't want to get merchandise on this platform and then have to turn around and charge you, my day one guys, charge you guys, $30 for a $5 t-shirt. I don't want to do that. So I'm still trying to figure it out. Now, with the people that I'm working with, they have some celebrity behind them. It makes more sense. It's funny. The more money you have, the more clout you have, the more celebrity you have, people want to do stuff for you for free. Right? So you can cut these deals and get breaks on the payment processing. You can buy in bulk so you can get more stuff. So the product is less. It's easier to have that stuff set up. With PBD and them, they have quality stuff. I wear that. I got one of their hats before. I wasn't given a hat. I really was. It was one of those days. It was like, hey, whoever sends in the highest super chat, we'll give you a free hat. I sent in a super chat, so I got a free hat. But I had to send in a super chat, right? So it was like a bidding kind of thing. So I got the hat because I really wanted to see it. And it's nice quality. It looks good. Their t-shirts are nice, but they charge a little bit. They charge a little bit. I remember when Fresh and Fit, when I bought the Fresh and Fit merch, they had to charge a little bit. And a lot of people got mad about that. Like, why are they charging so much? Like, well, all that stuff, man, the process is crazy. And if you use a company to do it, the company sets those rates. You don't even set those rates. So you really don't even know how much the stuff costs. I remember it was on a Fresh and Fit platform. Someone said something about a hoodie or whatever, and Myron didn't even realize how much it cost. And I understand, like the company, he's like, look, man, we have a company that handles that. We didn't know how much it cost. We didn't know the final figure or whatever, which I'm sure they sent the information out, but it's just one of those, that's fine, whatever. This is why you do so many meetings. Like when you're out there and you're a public figure and you're getting up there, you're getting clouded up and you're getting some fame and you're running a business, meeting after meeting after meeting, because you have to either approve this stuff. Well, you got to approve it. They're going to tell you what it is. You got to approve it, whether you're paying attention to it or not. That's on you. But that's how it works. But no, that's what it is, guys. That's what it is. Immigrant labor. That's another thing. I want to end with this. People have been asking me, my liberal friends have been going off because the Trump administration is coming, and my Republican friends are like, yes, Trump is coming. It's like this Messiah complex. And I tell them both, I'm like, first of all, to my Democratic friends, like, we don't know what he's going to do. We have to wait until his administration gets there. We got to wait till at least January 20th. But he said this and he said that. It's Donald Trump. He says all kind of stuff. But Elon is saying this and Vivek is saying that and MAGA is saying this. I'm like, exactly. We won't know what's going to happen until they get there. So we got to wait and see. And to my Republican friends, I'm like, look, y'all believe that this one guy is going to come in here and change this. How? That's my only question. How is this one dude going to be able to change this? And they start going into all this vague stuff. I'm like, bro, give me one solution for this debt crisis that we're facing here. How are you going to fix this? The Americans don't have the money. Just like Wall Street didn't have the money when we had the housing crisis and all those banks went under and was about to go under, and they didn't have the money. They couldn't pay. Americans can't pay. How are we going to fix this? And everyone's kind of like sitting there. I'm like, seriously, how can one person fix this? They can't. So we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait and see who they choose. We're going to have to wait and see what the administration is about. We're going to have to wait and see what type of leadership is there. I really don't think Trump cares. I think Trump's just going to be making deals for him. He's going to be playing a lot of golf. He's going to be doing whatever it is he does. And that's fine. I ain't mad at that. Right. And we're only talking about American financial issues. We haven't gotten into what could happen with terrorist activity. We haven't gotten into what's going on in the Middle East, Israel, Syria, Iran. We haven't talked about what's going on in Ukraine with Russia, North Korea. China's doing a bunch of saber rattling right now, talking about Taiwan. A lot of provocative talk coming from Xi Jinping about reuniting his, Taiwan and China because they want it. Bro, we haven't gotten into all that. We haven't gotten into any of that. We haven't gotten into raising the debt ceiling. We haven't gotten into none of that. Right? So we got to sit back and wait and see. We got to wait and see. Right? Universal basic income, bro. That might be a thing. That might be a thing. Tesla bots and automation is coming, bro. That's another thing too. There's a lot going on out here, man. Like Cody gets it. There's a lot going on out here, bro. And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like Charlemagne the God, and the fact that, hey, whether you like Trump or not, he is the next president of the United States. I want him to do well. I want America to do well. I want our country to be successful. We got some issues we need to fix, some serious issues we need to fix. And adding a tariff, a 25% tariff to Mexico and to Mexican and Canadian goods, an additional 10% on China, that's not the way. Rounding up, we're just going to go up and start rounding up undocumented workers and, undocumented people in America and kicking them out. I'm on board with that. If you're in the country illegally, When you get caught, you should get kicked out. It's part of the game. But to go round them up, you're talking about doing $1 million a year. That's going to cost a lot of money. A lot of money, right? We already got a spending problem. Like doing away with the Department of Education. Don't know if that's a great idea. Can it be done? Yeah. I don't know if that's a good idea. I like the idea of putting education back in command, in control of the states. Let the states do their own thing. I get that. But how are you going to go about making that happen? And who's going to ensure that the states don't get out of pocket? So there's a whole lot going on out here, but the main focus is this debt crisis, y'all. This debt crisis. This is a serious problem for America. Don't know how America is going to get out of this. I just don't. And I'll leave you guys with this. I don't know if you ever heard this term. I'd never heard this term before until I heard a YouTuber talking about it. But debt jubilee. Has anyone heard that term? Is anyone familiar with that? Debt jubilee. Look it up. Look it up, guys. If you haven't heard of this thing, look it up. Right? Look it up. We're going to be talking about that next week. It might have to happen. Like Cody knows what I'm talking about. It might have to happen. It might have to happen. Right? That might be the only answer. It's kind of radical. Right? And the thing is, it only helps the bottom 99. It helps the people who are in trouble. It doesn't help the 1%. Really, I mean, I guess depending on how you do it, it could. Depending on how you allow this, how you handle it. But look it up, guys. Debt jubilee. We're gonna talk about that Monday. We're gonna talk about debt jubilee on Monday. We're gonna talk about some relationships and how this credit crunch affects relationships and all that. A lot of women are out here like, hey, you're gonna notice women's standards going away, bro. They're gonna be looking for help. They're gonna be looking to make life better for themselves. And if that means they got to get with a guy who's in the bottom 80 and play wifey for a while, for a couple of years till they get it together, they absolutely will. So we're going to be talking about that. And then, of course, on Thursdays, we'll be doing Trump Thursdays where we talk about politics and stuff like that. It's crazy. And Cody's like, I'm surprised you've heard of it, bro. It blew my mind. I never heard the term before. I had to look it up. Like, what is that? I looked it up and I was like, wow. Wow. So I ain't gonna sit here and perp and be like, yeah, bro, I always knew what's up with that, bro. Yeah. Nah, this is why I love this platform. This is why I love this technology, man. If you use it properly, man, you can learn so much. You could do so much good with this, man. And I'm talking about social media, YouTube and all that. I'm talking about the internet, talking about, we have access to so much information. But if you take all this technology and all you want to do is twerk and make prank videos and not learn anything, then, well, then it is what it is. It is what it is. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it. This special edition of I Really Want to Know podcast. I normally don't do Saturdays, especially live, but I just wanted to jump on here, man. So I appreciate y'all, man. Brother Cody, thank you so much, man. All my day ones who was able to pop in here and everyone who's watching this on Team Replay. I appreciate y'all, man. Please like, share, subscribe. We're trying to get the engagement up. I'm looking at people out here. I'm trying to now I'm competing. I'm competing, guys. I want to do better than some of these folks. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I think I do a better job than most. And I look at their numbers and I'm like, how in the hell? So that's why I keep falling back on the shadow ban. I think they're shadow banning me. They're doing it because Cody's in the chat. They don't even let him type. But that's my man's in them. I want Cody to stay here. If I got to stay back shadow banned because Cody's one of my day ones, then so be it. We'll just be shadow banned. But we got some videos that did pretty good. We haven't cracked the 10,000 mark. We got one video out there that's like 7,000 views, which is pretty cool. That's like the biggest video I've ever had. It was me talking about Benjamin O. Davis and Masa Musa. It is what it is. Other than that, I got a video that had like 5,000 or 6,000 views, but the rest of them are down there. Man. We want to get these views up, so we're gonna keep pushing forward. Eventually, we're gonna get the algorithm to love us, man. Eventually, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get the algorithm to love us. This is Shaw's in the building. What's good, fam? Hey, go and watch his content. Y'all need to go watch This Is Shaw's content. Watch his content, man. This brother worked in the family court system for a very long time. I look forward to reaching out to him and getting him back over here again. We've collabed. I want to collab with him again in the future because I really want to take an opportunity to try to change some stuff in family law. We're going to be talking about that in 2025, especially. So appreciate it, man. And look at Mandrill, like it won't be fixed in our lifetime. Maybe, maybe. Let me show these comments real quick, guys. Appreciate it, Cody, man. I really appreciate you, man, jumping in here and staying active in the chat, bro. I really appreciate you, bro. And everyone who's like active in the chat. I know I fooled y'all. Like, bro, you was supposed to be signing off. I know, but I want to show all these comments before I sign off. Let me show all these comments, and then we're gonna do the outro. And then I'm gonna go watch the Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then Kansas City is gonna beat Denver, and Miami is gonna lose, and then the Bengals gonna get into the playoffs. A lot needs to happen to get us into the playoff. A lot. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I think the Bengals are gonna take care of business, but I don't believe that we're gonna be able to get into the playoffs, man. I don't think Kansas City is going to beat Denver. I think Denver is going to beat Kansas City because Kansas City is not playing any of their top dudes. So there's that. But yeah, I wanted to show all those videos, man. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate all of y'all. Let me go back to comments one more time. I appreciate y'all, man. He said, manifested king. Shit, I'm a realist. I just want the Bengals to beat the Steelers. We're going to do that tonight. I'm going to be watching that tonight. And we'll be back Monday, guys. My daughter will be home, so I'm going to be in an excellent mood. I haven't seen my daughter in like 3 weeks, man. It's been a long winter break. She's been on the West Coast. Cannot wait for my not so little one to come back home. I'm so excited. So I'll see you guys Monday. Enjoy your weekend. I hope the New Year's going good for you guys. Appreciate y'all rocking out with me. I'm going to talk to y'all later. I'm DL Saint. This is that I Really Want to Know podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.